And now it's time for a special edition of Fallback. I am thrilled to be joined by comedian and writer Jen Kirkman. She has 2 stand-up specials on Netflix, including I'm Gonna Die Alone and I Feel Fine. The Atlantic named it one of their favorite stand-up specials. She's also the author of the New York Times best-selling memoir, I Can Barely Take Care of Myself. Little inspiration for all of us. And a writer for the Emmy-winning series, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She's currently on tour in the U.S., Canada, overseas. Catch her anywhere, really. Also here, our friend, MSNBC journalist Ayman Mohyeldin. He's one of the first Western journalists to ever cover the trial of Saddam Hussein from inside Iraq. Did you know that? He also investigated how Saudi Arabia targets dissenters. This was following the tragic murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. And he co-anchors Morning Joe's First Look every day at 5 a.m. because that's the time everyone is up.
Right, exactly. Big demographic there.
What's on your fallback list?
All right, this is what there was a guy driving a self-driving car recently, but he wasn't driving and he was asleep. And I need this man to fall back. I also need self-driving cars to fall back a little bit because I'm not convinced we're there yet with the technology. In other words, just stay awake.
We have some of the footage.
Okay.
This doesn't give you confidence, this gentleman asleep at the wheel.
No.
No.
Because let me put it this way. Most airplanes are, on autopilot. They're not actually, they don't need to, it's regulated. They're not asleep. Like, you still have to be awake in case something happens.
Do you think, and you work a lot with words, you're very funny with words, is this a problem with the branding and the words that some people hear self-driving and they don't hear what you just said? They don't hear autopilot, which is a little different.
Yeah, autopilot is different. And I feel like driving is a big, important part of self-driving. You need to be learned. And I have, it's not a conspiracy. Maybe it's a good idea for a movie, like the Speed movie with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. I feel like some kid in his basement is going to hack into like the Tesla mainframe and make all the cars start going 300 miles an hour. And you have to be awake if something like that happens.
Jen, have you ever seen anyone fall asleep at your shows?
Mostly, yeah. I do a lot. Well, I do a lot of nursing homes too. So people usually, but no, I have actually. I'm not kidding. I have had someone fall asleep in the front row, and they were drunk. So I would say they more like blacked out, passed out.
Okay.
It wasn't because I wasn't funny.
How do you top that, Ayman? What's on your fallback list?
Mine is definitely not that good, I was going to say. But one thing that I think matters is my fallback this week is the NCAA. You got California trying to allow athletes at universities to get paid. LeBron James came out in support of this. Bernie Sanders did as well. These are athletes who are generating billions of dollars for their universities. They're selling merchandise off their backs. The coaches get paid millions of dollars in these lucrative contracts, television rights. The students don't get paid any bit. We tend to think of it as the wealthy kind of, athletes that sell these jerseys. But the NCAA has constantly been blocking that, not letting these kids get paid.
Let me bring in Jen on this. Obviously, there was a period in your life when you were an amateur comedian. What was it like going pro?
It was great because that's when you get paid. So they used to just pay us in drinks when you start out. And I mean, that doesn't even sound like that's happening to the athletes.
Would that be at major, like people who go to see real comedy clubs at a big city, and you would only be paid in drinks?
Yes. Yeah, you get 2 drinks. And then, but they don't pay your parking. They don't pay for anything.
Well,
so
this leads to another question, obviously.
Yeah.
Was the guy in the front row was he a fellow comedian?
Probably. He was a new comic.
You just solved it. You just solved the mystery.
He'd done 4 gigs that night. But I don't know anything about sports. But it just seems logical to me that, especially like you said, if you're hurting yourself, you're going to need that money to,
take care of yourself.
Go to the ER maybe.
Yeah. I heard for your final fallback, you brought some show and tell. We're going to take a look at this polenta fad. Let's have a look.
That's polenta, poured directly on your table. Chef Petroni wanted to share an old Italian tradition called polenta alla spignatura. That's polenta served right on a table or wood plank, family style.
How do you feel about this fad?
It disgusts me. How? And then how do they pick it? Like, can I take your table from you now? Like, how do they clean it up? And what about splinters? You don't know what's going to happen. People swallowing wood.
Maybe in like a Scandinavian country, but can you imagine doing that in New York?
Well, New York City, I mean, you could have an A rating. You know the rating system? You could have an A on the window, and the table will literally have multiple small rodents on it. So if they're, if the rodents are dancing, that's not where I want my polenta. But I'm not a polenta expert. I guess I only have one more question before we go. What was this segment?
What do you philosophically?
What is this that we're doing here?
I don't know. Having some fun, giving people a break from the monotony of the news.
Fall back.
Both acceptable answers.
Oh, okay. What is the real answer?
No, those are both acceptable.
Oh, great. Okay.
The thing about the
This was a
beat is
joy.
we welcome all answers.
You define it yourself.
And the beat goes on. That's a quote.
Boom. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.